Have you ever felt like you're chasing shadows, searching for answers, but only finding reflections of something deeper? This was the dilemma one monk faced one quiet evening under the light of the full moon, as he asked Bodhidharma, the Zen master, the question we all ask at some point: how do we find the truth? What Bodhidharma revealed that night was more than just an answer. It was a lesson on the nature of life itself. It was a still night, with the full moon hanging low over a silent pond. The surface of the water was so calm, it looked like a mirror, perfectly reflecting the moon and stars above. Bodhidharma, seated on a rock by the water's edge, exuded a sense of calm wisdom. His disciples sat quietly around him, their robes gently rustling in the night breeze. The only sound was the soft chirping of crickets and the occasional rustle of the wind in the trees. The youngest monk, who had been restless in his thoughts for days, finally spoke up. His voice broke the silence, but it was filled with reverence. "Master," he asked, "how do we find the truth?" The air grew heavier with anticipation as the other disciples turned to Bodhidharma, waiting for his reply. The moon's reflection on the pond remained undisturbed, almost like it was part of the moment itself. Bodhidharma remained silent for a few moments, his eyes fixed on the still pond. Then, with a subtle gesture, he pointed to the water. "Do you see the moon in the water?" he asked. The monk looked at the pond a bit confused. "Yes, master, but it is not the real moon, it's just a reflection," he replied, feeling a sense of unease. Bodhidharma smiled gently, as if the monk had just stumbled upon something important. "Exactly. What you see is just an image, a reflection, and so are the teachings you hear. They are only reflections of the truth, not the truth itself." The monk blinked, processing these words. He had always believed the teachings were the truth. How could they be mere reflections? He looked back at the pond, the reflection of the moon rippling slightly with the wind. Suddenly, the image was no longer as perfect as it had seemed just moments before. "But master," the monk began hesitantly, "if the teachings are not the truth, how can we ever find it? How do we know what's real?" Bodhidharma turned his gaze from the pond to the monk's confused face. His voice was calm, but carried the weight of experience. "You must look beyond the reflection. The truth is not something you hear or read. It's something you experience. To find it, you must look directly at the source." The monk, still unsure, stared at the moon's reflection. He had been following the teachings for so long, believing they would lead him to truth. Now he was told that the truth was beyond them. His mind raced with questions, doubts, and confusion, like the ripples spreading across the pond. Then something shifted inside him. The monk slowly lifted his head from the pond and looked up at the sky. There, suspended in the vast darkness, was the real moon. It was clear, bright, and unmoving. The reflection in the water had been beautiful, but it was fleeting, distorted by every breeze. The real moon, the source, had been there all along, above him, unchanged. The monk's heart calmed. He realized that for so long he had been chasing reflections, mistaking teachings and words for the truth. But truth, real truth, was not something you could grasp through words or ideas. It was something you could only feel and know in the depths of your being. His chest filled with a sense of peace, like a heavy weight had been lifted. Bodhidharma saw the change in the monk's eyes, the clarity, the understanding. With a knowing smile, he said, "Do not mistake the reflection for the moon itself. The teachings are guides, but they cannot walk the path for you. To find the truth, you must walk it yourself. Truth is not in the words, it's in the experience." The monk nodded slowly, now feeling the depth of Bodhidharma's words in his heart. He understood now. The teachings were tools to help him, but they were not the destination. The real journey lay in direct experience, in understanding the world without relying on reflections of it. As the night wore on, the monk and his fellow disciples sat in silence, each reflecting on their own journey. The moon, now higher in the sky, continued to shine brightly, its reflection shimmering softly in the pond below. But now, the monk knew better. He no longer needed to chase the reflection. He had found the source. In our lives, we often follow teachings, advice, and ideas, believing they will lead us to the truth. But like the monk, we must remember that teachings are just reflections. The real truth lies in direct experience, in looking beyond what we are told and finding the source within ourselves. If you're on your own journey of self-discovery, comment below with your thoughts, and let's walk this path together.